Hello and welcome to the Mainly Football Podcast with me, Joe Cran and Dean Furman. Today we have a very special guest. It is a good friend of mine. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's in a different country, and we've been in different countries for a while now. Mame Niang. Mame, how you doing, man? How's things? Family all good?
All good. Everybody's good. Getting old day by day, but I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, guys.
Fantastic. Dean wasn't lucky enough to play with you at Supersport, but you had some good years there. It was looking back at your time at Supersport. Is it a club that you still hold sort of quite close to your heart?
Yeah, definitely. I still have contact with people that work around the club, and it's a club that played a big role in my footballing career, especially in South Africa.
No, definitely. That's the one that when we sort of became friends, when we started talking, it's you in a Supersport shirt that I think of. I know that you had your time at Swallows and you were at Sundowns and Tux as well. I think Tux you had a good stint there, but for me, it's always Mama in blue and white that I think of.
Yeah, Supersport is the club that brought all the best memories. Actually, the best memories came from Supersport.
No, I can imagine. Dean, do you want to jump in here? Because I know that Mama's a player that you probably would have liked playing with, right?
Yeah, Mama, we just discussed before we pressed record how I love playing with a big target man. As a midfielder, for me, there's nothing better to look up and see a big target man, someone you can hit, someone you can trust on the ball, someone who's good in the air. And I think definitely in my time playing at Supersport, we always had that target man, and we didn't necessarily play your typical South African way. We were more like all your combination play. We were more get the ball wide, put crosses in. And I know playing under Gavin, I'm sure Gavin is down the channel.
He's the specialist on that.
Get the ball in the box. So how was it playing under Gavin? It must have really suited your style of football.
Yeah, to be honest, when I came to South Africa, I couldn't speak English. So when I met Gavin, we didn't communicate a lot. The first months, it was like I see him, he says hi, finish. There was no translator, there was nothing. So I remember we had a training session, and one player we had, Ashley Opperman, was frustrated because I couldn't speak English, and he said, "How are we going to communicate with this guy?" Kevin said, "Just put the ball in the box. You will see what that's the communication. You don't need to communicate for now." So it's been a privilege playing under Gavin. I've learned a lot under him, and I've grown as a footballer, as a person. So, and I met his family, his ex-wife and his children. They know me well. I used to go to their house when I couldn't even speak English at all. Eat with them and chill with them. So yeah, he played a big role in my career.
Gavin brought you to South Africa, right? Sorry, Dean. I was just going to ask. Gavin brought you over to South Africa.
He brought me to South Africa. Yeah.
If you didn't speak English and you were playing in Senegal, how did that come about? Like, how did that move happen?
Swallows had a striker that has my profile, and he was at Swallows. Then he joined SuperSport the following year. So Gavin was looking for the same profile. So there was this guy that was in Soccer Africa, Mamadou Gueye. I don't know if you remember him. Mamadou Gueye.
Yes.
He was at Soccer Africa. So he said to Gavin, there is a boy I saw in the national team of Senegal under 23, and he would fit perfectly your profile. So Gavin said he should send my DVDs. So he sent my DVDs, and we were actually two strikers, lanky strikers. But the difference between the two that was playing up front, I had this handband. I always have this handband. I don't know if you remember, Joe. When I play, I always have this white handband on my wrist. So Gavin saw my video, and he was happy, but he wanted to come see me live. So he flew to Senegal and came. I think we were playing a quarterfinal of a cup game, and we won 2-1, and I scored the second goal. And I scored a nice head actually in that game. So Gavin followed.
You didn't
Gavin, that was the trigger. That header was the trigger. So Gavin said actually, I don't want you to come on trial. I want to sign you. But back then, I was part of this generation of Senegalese players that could go to France, because we were like a squad of players that many thought we could go to French league, and already three players left then. So I had the opportunity to go to Metz when Adebayor left Metz. I was supposed to go to on trial to Metz because Adebayor left. They were looking for the kind of profile that Adebayor had. And so I got an invitation from Metz, and I got a contract ready for Swallows.
Right.
So at that time, my brother was in Montpellier. My brother's the professor. So I asked him, what should I do? I got a deal that's ready, and I got a trial in France. He said to me, go sign the contract. Even though South Africa was a lower league, there was a lot of talk about after I signed that, why did I go to South Africa when I was one of this generation that could have joined the French league. So yeah, when I spoke to the agents, they told me that the previous top scorer of the league went to Portsmouth in England. So I said, okay, then I will come. I will win the Golden Boot. Then I'll probably go to Europe. That was the plan. So that's how.
What's really interesting for me is that the fact that Gavin actually came to Senegal to come and see you. And for me, when I moved to Supersport, Stan Matthews, the CEO, he actually came to England to come and see me. And I think, how much did that mean to you? Because in this day and age, you don't have to get on a flight. You can have a Zoom conversation. You can watch all the DVDs or the scouting reports. For me, that was a huge influence in making my decision. How much did Gavin actually coming to watch you play? How much did that influence your decision?
Yeah, it influenced the decision a lot, because he told me that he barely goes watch players he signs. He can go to Cape Town, and inside South Africa he can travel, but to go outside of South Africa, I was the first one he did it for, like in the west side. So it was a privilege for me to hear certain things coming from his mouth. So I said, yeah, I'm ready to play for you. I don't care about what happened in France. I'm ready, and I wanna play 2 years, and I wanna leave this country. He was like, yeah, it's not so easy, but we will see.
I mean, so, you hit the ground running, didn't you? I mean, you got the Golden Boot in your first season, so it wasn't too bad a start.
It wasn't too bad. I remember actually it didn't go as smooth as the season went, actually, because I remember my first 2 weeks coming from a Senegalese league that was like, we played 10 games already. I came to South Africa from summer to winter, and the altitude, I was struggling. Like, I felt sluggish and heavy and sluggish, and Gavin wasn't happy at all. Gavin said, this boy is not the same guy I saw in Senegal. So they called me in the hotel, and they brought a translator, and they explained to me that the coach wasn't happy about your training and stuff. So yeah, I said to him, look, this is new to me, and I haven't done a preseason properly, like I'm doing now. So I'm seriously exhausted. But tell him to give me 2 more weeks. I will show him that I'm the same guy. So I remember my first friendly game. We played Sundowns, actually, in Jamestown Stadium, our home stadium, home ground. And I remember my first 15 minutes, the supporters were like this. Who's this guy? Where did he get this guy?
The well-known South African pleasure.
So, but Gavin is a brave coach. He didn't care. He let me in. I managed to score a goal and set up the equalizer. Sundown were leading 2-0. The game ended 2-2. So the first 15 minutes I played 30 minutes. The first 15 minutes was very bad. Then I turned the other 15 minutes into something crazy. Like, I just turned up from the next 15 minutes. So from there, the rest was history.
I think for people watching this, they actually won't realize the effects of altitude. And I suffered myself coming over from the UK, coming to play in South Africa, and wow, it's amazing because you don't feel any different, and then all of a sudden you get out on the pitch and you just can't run. You've got no
Yeah,
energy.
it's
You
crazy.
feel like you're slow. The game's so quick. So for people kind
Yes.
of in maybe in South Africa who are used to the altitude and they see
Yeah.
a new player coming over, it's so important. Time is really, really important. One,
Yeah.
you didn't speak the language. Two, you didn't know the players. Three, you're suffering with altitude problems. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great lesson for everyone that players coming into the country, it's really important to give them a little bit of time and not to expect too much too soon.
Mm,
But
that's true.
for you personally, to go and get that kind of that goal, that assist, and it must have been massive for you for your confidence going forward, that you knew that you were more than capable at that level against one of the best teams in the country,
Yeah.
that you can go and have such a big impact.
Definitely, and it's important to have also teammates around you that can support you. And I had a bunch of some talented players. Alfred Piri, who played the World Cup 1998, Bafana and Tapelo Liao, some skillful players, midfielders we had in that team. So they kept on pushing me and making me believe that this is just something that's gonna pass, and it meant a lot. So I kept on. I mentally, I'm a very strong person also mentally, so that plays a big role. I said, no, just gonna forget this 15 minutes and make sure the next 15 minutes I just show myself.
I know I'm not a professional footballer, but when I moved up to Joburg from Cape Town, I went and played five-a-side for the first time, and after 50 minutes, I thought I was going to die. I genuinely thought my lungs were going to explode. Like before I went there, everyone said, "Oh, you're going to struggle in Joburg, the altitude." And I'm like, I mean, it can't be that bad, surely. And like I said, I played five-a-side, and I was tasting blood. Thought I was going to pass. It was horrendous.
It's the altitude in Joburg is something else.
And I presume this was when the season started. Was it?
Yeah, it was preseason actually.
Yeah.
It was preseason games. That was our first preseason. No, not our first, but our second preseason game. I think we went to Swaziland and won a tournament there, which I actually scored in the final. Then I didn't get my clearance from my former club because there was some amount of money. So Swallows didn't pay them yet, and they didn't want to release me, and it was a long story.
Just going back a little bit, you did win a league title in Senegal before you came to South Africa.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That the previous season I almost won a treblet because Senegal we have three cups. We have a top 4. We don't have top 8, but top 4. Then we have a league and the cup, national cup. So I won the top 4 and I won the league and I lost the cup final.
Oh,
I lost the cup final 2-1.
How young were you at that point?
I was 19.
Oh, so you were a kid when Gavin.
Yeah, I was a kid when I left Senegal, but I went through a coach that was known of finding the best talent in Senegal in our township, basically.
Right.
So when I came to that club, he took me first to a club called CSS. It was a club far away from the capital city. And I came with a friend of mine that I played with my whole youth level. And he was a number 10, and he took us both to that team who was in the top division and said, you guys are going to play number 10 and number 9 in my team. Everybody was shocked because normally that team is a team that has a lot of money and that bring players that played overseas before and want to retire home. Those are the players they normally attract. But that coach was brave enough to just give us a chance and said, okay, go out there and show your energy. Show what you can do. And we had a good understanding between the two of us. We end up having a good season. I think we lost one game at home. One home game the whole season. We finished top 4, I think. Yeah. Then the following season, I joined one of the best teams. It's like Pirates and Chiefs. One of the best teams in Senegal. And they both in Dakar, Jaraaf. That's where I won the title and the league and the cup. Top 4 and lost the final. Yeah. So in the space of 2 years, in the space of basically 3 years, I jumped from 3 clubs, but basically because I left CSS, I played 1 year at CSS, top scorer of the club. Went to Jaraaf, second top scorer because the top scorer of the league was in our team also.
Right.
I was second top scorer of the league, and I joined Swallows the third year.
So talking about your move to Swallows to South Africa, you've got a big family. You've got 6 brothers, 3 sisters.
Yeah.
How did they feel about you leaving? Were they supportive? Did they get behind you? I'm sure they
They
missed
were.
you.
You know, I have 2 of my brothers that were very talented, but they never had a chance to play the professional level. They were unlucky. I felt.
Did you think they were better than you?
Yeah, especially the one that comes before me. He was way better than me. He was both fit. He could play with both feet, and he was very talented. But he wasn't as serious as I was. That was his challenge. And there was the first one that was a striker also. He was he played in Qatar. That's the highest he played. He was a goal scorer. He scored, I think, 11 goals for the national team. He got some call-ups and scored 11 goals for the national team. He was my inspiration, that one. He's the reason why I become striker. Because I used to walk like 8Ks just to watch him play and walk back.
That's about 4 steps for you then, mate.
Yeah. That was like for me. It's like I used to enjoy walking because for me that was the time where I could get my head clear of the township, of the craziness of the township, and it's a lot of people and too much partying, music, and all this stuff. So when I take a walk through the bush to go to the national stadium, watch my brother, was a breath of fresh air. So I could just take a walk and,
That must have been pretty mad, like walking to the national stadium, because obviously you're from Dakar. Like,
I'm from Dakar, yeah.
From your township to the national stadium to watch your brother play. Like, that must be mad.
That was mad, and the funny thing is, I was taking risk because if I see him, it gives me transport money. But it's difficult to see these players because it's surrounded by these fans and electric fans, so you can't basically jump over. And they like don't allow people to come in to see the players. So I used to wait outside with a lot of people and try to see if my brother can see me. I out of 10, I probably get one chance because I was very small and there were a lot of people. But yeah, I managed to walk back, and he always tells me, "Don't come watch me. Like, it's too long, it's too far, and it's dangerous." Blah blah. I didn't listen. I come from school, I drop my bag, I'm out. I don't even eat lunch. I just take a freak. I'm out. That's how the game meant to me.
So when you were moving, was he full of support for you? Did he guide you on your career? Did he help you throughout your career? Because obviously you showed him so much love by going to watch him. Did he help you in your career as well?
Funny enough, he wasn't there. He was in Guinea, Conakry. He left and he wanted a better life. He went to Guinea to help my sister. They opened a restaurant in Guinea. So he didn't see my progress coming up. So what happened is I went to Guinea and we played Champions League with Jaraf, my team. And then they told them, one of your brother is here. They told them, both of them, one of your brothers is here to play Champions League game. They thought it was my brother, the one that came before me. They never thought of me because he said, in my wildest dream, I never thought it was you. So when they came to the hotel, they saw that it was me. It was one of the most emotional thing I've experienced. They came to the stadium, and I saw them. The training stopped. I was crying. The whole squad was like trying to console me. I couldn't believe, because I didn't see them for like 3 years, 4 years. So all of a sudden, they are right in front of me. I was crying. Yeah, it was emotional. But yeah, then I decided, okay, when I sign my professional contracts, you guys are coming back home. There is no doubt about that. So yeah, that's exactly what I did. I brought everybody back home.
That's so nice. You guys are really close, eh?
Yeah, we're very close, man. Very close. I'm the last born 11, but we lost 3. Now we 8. So 6 boys and two girls.
Yeah, I remember meeting some of them at your wedding. You did there was a drum circle at your wedding that was incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Those 2 that came to play. The one that was playing the drum is the one that came before we are the last 3 in the family.
Honestly, I'm not just saying this because you're on the call with us. That still is one of my favorite ever New Year's. That because it was on New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was New Year's Eve. Yeah.
It was brilliant. Me and obviously my now fiance Steph, we came through. It was in Stellenbosch. It was honestly, Dean, it was unbelievable. Like the view we had over the Stellenbosch, and
that wedding was.
Yeah, we had a great night.
No, but it was a good experience that I managed to meet them again because of football, and he was shocked. So he wanted to be more involved in my career, because then
was he more involved after that? Then did he get more involved as things progressed?
After that we were talking constantly on the phone, and I told him about this deal when I was about to leave for Swallows. Yeah.
So talking about the family back home, obviously celebrations over the last month. How did you feel watching the AFCON? Senegal finally getting their hands on that trophy that they've threatened for so many years. It must have been incredible. Did your family join the celebrations? We saw the incredible scenes all over the news. Did your family go and welcome the team back home?
Yeah, it's been sick. Like they've been talking about the star, the jersey with the star, the new jersey with the star, and apparently it's sold out everywhere in Senegal. You can't find it. People are making big businesses out of it. I'm like, it's crazy. My whole family, they couldn't stop calling me. That day, I was watching it here with Alpha. Alpha was crying, and he's been in Senegal once.
Imagine that you've had to wait your entire life for that. He's 9. And he's already peaked. He's done it.
Imagine. I've been in that. I've been lucky enough to be in that Senegal generation to 2002. That was in the World Cup in 2002 that beat France, because I got my first call up in 2005 when they came back from that AFCON, that disappointed AFCON, and that was the time actually that Diouf generation was fading away. So the assistant coach of France, Didier Deschamps assistant coach, he's the one that gave me my first call up, and I was a local player then. Right before I joined Swallows, actually, he gave me my first call up. Right before I joined Swallows. But I remember Adebayor came to the national stadium. Senegal was supposed to win to go top of the group. Adebayor just played like he went through our defense. We were leading 2-1 until the last minute. I was on the bench. Adebayor just came in and scored the equalizer.
So just moving a little bit forward. So you were at Swallows, and then from Swallows you ended up in Germany, right? You're playing with Felix Magath and that spell. Was that difficult? You said that you wanted to make that move to Europe after you finished your couple of years in South Africa. It didn't quite work out as planned, did it, at Wolfsburg?
No, because when I went to Wolfsburg, I felt like this is the perfect time for me to go to a European club, because I'm young and I can improve. But I felt like the level was so high that I needed to get to a Belgium league maybe first.
Or you feel you went to a league too high up too quickly?
Yeah, exactly. You understand? So I felt like if I went to a Belgian league, maybe your French league first, I could have. At the age of 25, I was ready for the Bundesliga. But despite all these challenges, I was actually always in the 18. Despite us having 6 top strikers, we have Edin Dzeko.
I was going to ask you about Dzeko, because he was about 21 when he joined.
Yeah, he was the same age as me.
Did you see then? Because obviously, I mean, he's still playing now. Like he's still going, he's still doing well. Had a good spell at Man City. Did you, when he came in at 21, did you look at him and go, "We've got a player on our hands here"?
Bro, we did finishing. I remember we did finishing. We went to Marbella. No, we went to Portugal first. We were doing finishing. This guy he looks nonchalant. You think, this is not a striker. The ball, you cross the ball. You know, normally when strikers don't like when you cross the ball and the ball bounces before them. They want to take it in the air and or stuff like that. This guy didn't find it difficult. The ball bounces, doesn't matter. He just takes it right, left, top corner. I'm like, shit. Nah, I gotta really roll my sleeves to play in this team. Then they signed another striker who came from French league, Graffiti, a big Brazilian, 28 already. He was cooked, ready. He was Bundesliga top scorer, and we have the second Bundesliga top scorer, the second top scorer in our team. So it was
quite a difficult side to get into.
It was a difficult task. But despite that, Magat told that I was a hard worker and I was improving game by game. So he gave me some chances. I played 4 league games and 2 cup games, which included that Bayern. We lost to Bayern 2-0 in the semi-final of the cup. So those was a huge experience. But by then they signed Ribéry and Robben. That's the time they came. Young Ribéry.
Also pretty good footballers.
Those two, bro, they're like I played 45 minutes because Dzeko was suspended. I think Graffiti was injured, and I came in last 45 minutes. I barely touched the ball. All I did was chasing. When we win the ball, they win it again. Like Bayern was like so difficult to play against. But I've experienced some type of training I never experienced in my life with Magat.
In a good way or in a bad way?
In a good way and a bad way, because it was extremely high, and I think that lay a foundation on my career afterwards, because physically, like I couldn't, like no training could really bother me.
Really, even harder than Gavin's, because Gavin's notorious.
Even harder than Gavin's, trust me. We play 90 minutes, you run 1 hour 25 minutes. This guy was sick, crazy sick, and we were tempo. There's no jogging around. You run with tempo. This guy was like, they call him the dictator, Magat. But he got successful because of that.
Can you, a question that I get asked a lot, having played in different countries, is what's the difference between playing in Europe or playing in the UK and playing in the PSL? So for you, what did you find the differences from the PSL to playing in the Bundesliga?
I felt like in the PSL you can relax a little bit as a striker. You got the chance to breathe as a striker. But then in the Bundesliga, like the tempo, I remember my first game was against Karlsruhe. Bradley Carnell was playing for Karlsruhe, left back. I played 20 minutes. I felt like I played 90 minutes. The tempo was so high. I came out like I was on my knees. I was holding my knees. I was like, fuck. Now I have to double my training. Despite all the training I've been doing here, I felt so tired. But that's why actually Wolfsburg won the Bundesliga the following year when I was on loan, because physically the teams were like the teams they were tired. They got tired. So I felt like the level, the intensity level, Bundesliga wise, it was there. It was up there.
Did you find a difference? In the level of physicality? For me, I thought in South Africa the league's not so physical. It's more combination.
Yeah, it's not physical.
1-2 skill. Whereas when you come into Europe, you're now playing against physical, big, strong, and every week's a battle. Did you have a similar experience?
Yeah, I played some games against German midstoppers, like friendly games and certain kind of game, and the few games I played, and I felt like the center backs in Germany, they were like all giants. There was no team you pick in Germany that doesn't have a center back that's 6'4" or 6'5". That's what I was like. I was like, and me, I actually enjoy playing against those guys, because I never like a small center backs, because they sneak in front of you and they take the ball. But the big center backs, when you do like this, you feel them. So that's what I realized, that the tempo in Europe was so high compared to every, like Germany. I felt like they run a lot. And I got a chance to ask Jeko when when Manchester City came to what do you call it, to South Africa when we beat Manchester City. I asked Jeko how is what's the difference between the Bundesliga and the Premier League. He said to me, the Premier League, the games are harder. But he said in Germany the trainings are harder than in England, because he said the way we were, obviously we had Magat. He said the way we were training in Germany, he said we didn't train like that in England. But also they had Pellegrini, who's Spanish.
Was it quite nice to get one over on your old teammate? You scored in that game, didn't you?
Yeah, I scored the first goal. Yeah.
I went to that match. It was a beautiful day at Loftus. It was.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing day, and I got actually my second call up for the national team after that goal.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. It was, and there was some big players playing that day as well. It wasn't like a makeshift City side like Yaya Toure.
Yeah, today it was only Silva that was missing. Everybody else played, and Aguero. I think.
Was it Nastasic and Lescott who you got in between for that goal?
Yeah. And Pantelimon was the goalkeeper.
It was a Mornay Nel masterclass that day, wasn't
it? Yeah, Mornay Nel. Yeah. What happened to that player anyway?
I asked the same question because when I came over,
what a talent he was, eh?
He was one of the first players I noticed, and I thought,
wow,
at
17 this guy already.
And then he kind of just disappeared. And the thing for him is he's big. He's a big boy. So he's now got this Man City game. He's physically, he's a good size. I thought, wow, this is a big midfielder. This guy's going to be good. And then
I thought the same.
He just never fulfilled his potential.
And just want to ask, Mami. So after your sort of spell at SuperSport, you had bits at times at Tux when you did really well. There was that spell when you signed for Sundowns and it didn't really go to plan, did it? You didn't play that much at Sundowns. You went out on loan again.
Yeah.
Did you, in hindsight, do you regret going to Sundowns, or do you still think that you made the right decision given the information you had available to you at the time?
I don't feel like I regret any of these mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I felt like all the mistakes I made end up with something positive. Because one of my friends still are mad at me because when I left Wolfsburg to go to Viking on loan, I did well at Viking. I scored 7 goals in 10 games. Magat actually wanted me back at the club. Wait, Magat wanted me back at the club, and I had the opportunity to come back to Wolfsburg, but I decided I want to go to Viking because they were singing my name after I scored a goal for 15 minutes. You know, I was loved. I felt like it was nice. But when you come to think about it, that was the worst decision I made in my career.
Yeah, but you did also meet your wife there, so that worked out.
so you get where I come from. So
yeah,
every mistake I made end up with something along the way. The Sundowns was the same. I was doing well at SuperSport. SuperSport wanted me to renew 2 more years, but I opted for the money. I chose the money, but I didn't play that at Sundowns as much as I wanted.
I think that's something that needs to be spoken about more, right? You know, I think there's this in football. It's like the money is a dirty word. It's like you're not allowed to make financial decisions in football as a player. It's almost like
I had a white wedding coming. I had guests coming from Norway. I had to get that. I had to take that deal. No, but really, in a financial part, I wanted that deal because I was starting to get some property. I was starting to get to the property business in South Africa, and I felt like the money I was getting at SuperSport wasn't going to cover. And, you know, the money I made in Germany, I built some houses in Senegal. So I wanted to make the same in South Africa, own properties there and there and there. So that was the plan.
Yeah,
So I felt like the Sundowns deal came, I would take that.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about. It felt like at least every couple of years you were linked with Pirates. Like it was like the deal that always looked like it was going to happen and never did. Was there ever a point when you were genuinely close to joining Pirates?
Yeah, after tax actually, before I came back to SuperSport, I spoke to Roger Desai and he said to me, "You my first #1 target next year."
So what happened? How come you didn't go to Pirates?
No, because I was about to travel to Norway. The day I was traveling, they called me at the airport. Tebo Homoloy called me and said, "Cause I want to speak to you." I was like, I'm at the airport, my friend. I'm leaving for Europe." So he's like, he played in a little bit cocky way. It's Dr. Koza. I said, even if it's Mandela, I'm not going. My family is calling me. I need to go to Europe. So that's why the deal didn't happen. So then I went back. Stan told me, if you score 10 goals for tax, I'll bring you back. I had 8 goals and there was 2 games left. So he comes and tells me, if you score 10 goals, I'm like, just sign me. I know you love me. Just sign me. He said, I know you will score, but I want to put you under pressure. I said, okay. We played Platinum Star home. 1-1. I didn't score. We had last game to play against Black Leopards away. You know how hard it is to beat Black Leopards away.
Yeah, that's a tough place to go.
But that's not fun.
We ended up beating them 3-1 and I scored a brace.
Did you ask him on the phone straight away afterwards?
I called him. I said, send Stephen the contract and give me a good one. Yeah, but it was. I felt like it was Pirates. Like I was close twice, but then they were not as serious as Sundowns was. Right. Because Pitso called me and didn't stop calling me. Even when I came to Norway, he was calling me often. So I felt like this was the right move.
You've actually been really lucky in the managerial sense. With Gavin and Pitso, you've worked with 2 of the most successful South African players of all time.
I was very lucky. Yeah.
Do you feel like both Pitso and Gavin made you a better player?
Yeah, I think for me to be a good coach in my future, I will have to pay tribute to Pitso, the way he works, the way he works so hard as a coach. So with Pitso, I've learned a lot as some like how to become a big coach, a good coach. How he does things as a coach it was amazing. His hard work and his dedication to the game. We used to come to training at 8 o'clock and leave at 4, despite having 1 session. Because we used to study the opponent. We all had the iPad, each of us, and you have to study. You have to make a you have to make access to your game and tell him how well you did or how bad you did.
So is that everybody, regardless of if you're playing or not? Like
every single player has to do the same. If I'm playing as a number 6 with Dean, if Dean is playing, I'm not playing. I still have to do the assessment because he think, what if Dean gets injured? Then I have to come in. So everybody has to do the job before they leave. So that's how professional this guy was. Dedicated, and he watched every opponent. He doesn't underestimate he's got this cocky part out of him, but he doesn't underestimate any opponent.
I think that's why with Pitso, anyone who's worked with him, I think you speak to anybody who's worked with Pitso, and they'll say he equips you as much as he possibly can to get the best out of it. And I don't think anybody, except anyone who's worked with him, I don't think anyone who's worked with him is surprised at the success that he's continued to have.
I'm not surprised. I think he still has a lot to offer. I feel like he could get to a European country. I'm not saying England or Germany, but I'm saying he could do well in Turkish league, for example.
Yeah,
he could do very well given a chance.
I think that's it for Pitso now, and it's about somebody giving him a chance because he's proven himself. You know, he's proven himself in South Africa. He's now proven himself in Egypt. For him, it's not. I don't think it's now about his ability. I think it's about someone offering him that chance to take his career to the next step because he's done all he can from his side.
And Gavin is like, with Gavin is like everything is about. I learned with Gavin is honesty. If you're honest in the pitch, you know, I used to have shit games with Gavin, but he never took me off because he said,
and he'd tell you though, right?
Yeah, he tells me, Mama, I could take you out after 15 minutes. You were awful, my boy. I said, yeah, I understand. Why didn't you take me off? He said, you know why? Because you got a mentality of a warrior. Doesn't matter how bad you play, you always put in the effort, and that I appreciate. And I said to him, you need me because of your dead ball situations. You can score a goal or you can defend a goal. So you can't just take me off, even if I'm having a bad game. And I think I felt like under Gavin, I barely had bad games. The few bad games I had, they were like maybe 2 or 3. All those years, because he just knew how to use me.
You had bad halves rather than full bad games.
Yeah, yeah. We had I remember one story with Kevin. Sorry, dude. When we played Chiefs at the Johannesburg Stadium, that was my first year, my first game against Chiefs. I scored again. We drew 1-1. And halftime, he said to me, "I give you 10 minutes, I'll take you off. You're playing shit." And I was pissed, and I couldn't speak English at all, but I understood what was shit means. So I scored the goal, and I came to him. I did like this. That was my celebration. Then he said, "Fuck you too." We were swearing to each other. I remember we had a player called Mohammed Al-Said. He said, "You are the first one I see swearing at the coach. You are crazy." So that's we've had that relationship since. We still
from the players I've spoken to, I know that Gavin loves that. When a player gives something back,
yeah,
he loves that deep down inside. He likes that character. He likes
does.
that. You've told us you're doing your badges. You've told us you're going down a bit of a coaching route. Do you think you're going to be as honest as Gavin? Keep your players in from 9 to 4 o'clock like Pitso, and give players the hardest pre-season of their life, running an hour and a half after 90 minutes like Felix Magath? Are you going to take all these experiences from your managers that have kind of shaped your career? Are you going to take that into your management style?
Definitely. Definitely one thing I know I got from Gavin is the hard training sessions and Magath. I got that from Magath. So that's one thing I know my team will be fit. The other thing is I think I would take a lot from Pitso's way of working, the professionalism, the coming on time. You know, the coming on time. Actually, I learned it in Germany because Germans don't play with time. They don't play with time. They can find you. They can
if a train is leaving at 7:02, it's leaving at 7:02.
Yeah, that's they just crazy like that, and I love that. I love to be on time. So the other thing is I feel like with Gavin is one thing I will learn is he always used to say, when you sign a player, can he create goals? Can he score goals? Can he stop goals? Doesn't matter which position he plays. And those 3 things, they stuck into me always. Because we're gonna sign a player, you need somebody that can defend, and that's modern football. Everybody defends. You signed up somebody that can create and somebody that can score goals. And he said, those 3 are important. But they are just people that can't score goals. You can't be so hard on them.
You said sort of about taking your coaching badges, but there's also some pretty important work that you're doing on top of that, right? Like it's not just your badges that you're doing at the minute.
No,
you're doing some pretty cool work in Norway.
Because the challenge is in Norway. In order to get your Norwegian passport, because I didn't get my passport yet. because I need to live here 7 years in a row. And you know me, I'm a bird. I'm a flying bird.
Have you ever lived anywhere for more than 2 years in a row?
No, besides Senegal. So, but right now I've been so good because I left South Africa 2018, 17. So I've been in Norway since then. So the state wants me to work, to get a job, and to earn a certain amount of money every month. Because that's just how the rules is. And you must do 300 hours of Norwegian course. So I've been doing that. So
just tell us a little bit about what you're doing, because you're helping people, right? That's
yeah, translation, mostly translating from French, English, because we have kids from all over, and I speak 6 languages. That does help.
You speak 6 languages fluently?
Not German, not fluent, but I can speak German. But the other ones fluently.
That's amazing.
That is incredible. When you think you came to South Africa and you couldn't speak a word of English, and
I came to South Africa, I could only speak French and Wolof.
Incredible. So now roll on 15 years later, and you're the translator. That is incredible, and so much respect for that. That's so impressive.
Is that purely from integration, Mame? Like, did you ever go for lessons, or have you literally?
I never went. It's only German I went to school, and Norwegian. English I never went to school. Swedish same, and yeah. German we had obviously it's Bundesliga. They give you a teacher that comes and teach you. Norwegian is like you go to school, and I even work at the school at the children's school for 3 years here to just improve my Norwegian.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of time. I am useless at languages. I don't speak any, and I think I generally think it's a major fault of your average English person as well. I think we're very lazy when it comes to languages. We don't have to learn any others. So for you to have come over to South Africa and not spoken a word of it, and then now be translating to people like Dean says is, it's pretty impressive.
And I got a call from the other day from work, saying a kid has arrived from Syria and he can only speak Arabic and French. So they called me and they said the boy can only speak French and Arabic. So I had to travel half an hour to just be translated. Just like that. So that's the kind of job I like, because I don't like a routine job where you wake up at 8 and you finish 4. For me, it's exhausting, and you are off weekend. I don't like that. I prefer this kind of work because you can work night shift, you can work day shift and evening shift, and it's nice.
Yeah, I enjoy for sure. Just before I finish up, last one from me. I have to ask you about your lad. Alpha is 9 now, right?
Yeah.
Is he going to be a footballer as well? Is there an intention for him to play? Does he play much?
Well, he's a good striker, but I feel like he scored a lot of goals. But he's twice bigger than the other kids. So obviously,
I wonder who he gets that from.
He just puts them away and shoot. So, but I feel like he could be a good defender because he reads the game well, and he's got the body for it, you know.
Excellent.
But he's interesting in the game, but he's got moods. He's got mood swings, this boy.
Would he play for Senegal or Norway?
Right now, I think he's gonna play for Senegal. If it happened to be today, he would join Senegal because he's been going crazy about Sadio Mane, and So I said to him, I will buy you Sadio Mane jersey so you can wear it. Maybe that will inspire you a little bit.
Just not the one with the star, because there's none left.
No. There's more stars coming.
Mame, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been lovely speaking to you again. Nice to hear that you're still keeping yourself busy and got some great memories. And again, congratulations on Senegal's win. Just before you go, we're going to head into our quick fire questions. First up, put your neck on the block. Of all the players you played with, South Africa, Germany, all the places you've been, who is the best footballer you played with?
The best footballer, Jabu Maluleke.
Jabu Maluleke, really? That's amazing. That because Jabo he's been going for a long time, hey?
That guy's, I think that guy's skill is amazing. The way he handles the ball, I have seen nothing better than that.
Impressive.
I love how there was no thought. It was like bang, Jabo
Mali, like,
not even a decision.
I've said it all the time, all my interviews.
Amazing. Secondly, who's your favourite strike partner? Not necessarily the best. Who is the striker that you sort of enjoyed playing alongside the most?
The one I enjoyed playing the most was Atusai Nyando.
Was that was at Tux, right?
Yeah, Tux. We played at Supersport together. He was when I left Tux, he came, but he was
right, okay, yeah.
Like we complete each other well.
Yeah.
Because he could do both, and I couldn't do both. Like I couldn't run back room, but he could do both. So he made I could just come meet. I could hold the ball for him, and he was off. I think I had like easier games with him, but I played lone striker most of my career.
Yeah.
4-4-3 with 2 wingers. I could handle 2 centre backs, alone.
Who was the most difficult player you played against? Whether it was not necessarily a centre back, but who was the best footballer you played against?
I would say it's actually a national. You remember Stefan Mbia? He was a Cameroon and he played for Sevilla. When we played Cameroon under 23, he was marking me, and I think he was the most difficult opponent I had. Like I couldn't get hold of the ball. I couldn't win aerial balls. It made my afternoon like so difficult. And it was a hot afternoon, so I didn't enjoy that game at all.
And just lastly,
I wanted my revenge, but I never got it.
just lastly, I just wanted to ask, who is the funniest player you've played alongside? You've been in a lot of different changing rooms at a lot of different teams. Who's the funniest player you've had in any of your any change room you've been in?
Davis Ngausu.
Oh yeah, Zambian international, right?
Zambian international. He was so funny.
Did you play together at Supersport?
Yeah, he was at Supersport, and we were together at the. No, when I came to Taxi Left, but we were together at Supersport for 2 years, 3 years. He was so funny. He was hilarious. That one. Always has jokes. Always.